morning, everyone. I just spilled my tea all over myself. Give me 1 second. I was trying to move the microphone into place because I seem to always forget to do that, and bump the little tea with the elbow. We have an unsturdy cup today. I like the way this one looks. It's a nice fun cup. But it's not as sturdy as the other one that I can kind of beat around. Hope you're all having a fantastic morning. It is Friday. You made it. Success. Good job. Good work. Today we're going to have an Ask Me Anything. So ask me whatever you want. That means I did not have time to prepare a discussion for this morning, but hey, that's okay. Actually, I thought about a few topics, but I know you all like Ask Me Anythings, and I know that I won't be here for the next 10 or 15 days because I'm going to be playing the World Series of Poker. Actually, I'm going to be playing the World Poker Tour Tournament of Champions, and that's first. I'll tell you my exact schedule. There's a $10,000 World Poker Tour Tournament on the 27th. No, I already have my schedule wrong. Yeah, the 27th. Then there's a $10,000 Turbo Tournament at the World Series of Poker, Turbo Bounty Tournament. Then there's a $15,000 bind World Poker Tour Tournament of Champions. That's always a lot of fun. Then there is a $5,000 World Series of Poker event. And then, if I have the opportunity, a $1,000 Turbo Tournament at the World Series of Poker. So that's my schedule. Not all that many tournaments, 5, maybe 6 tournaments, depending on how it goes. There's a chance I'll hop in something like the Big 50 if we have time, but I probably won't because it really overlaps with the Tournament of Champions. But that's my schedule coming up, and I cannot commit to doing these in the morning because, first things first, hotel internet is often not very great. So that's always a bit of an issue. Also, I highly prioritize sleep whenever I am playing tournaments. What happened to my little lion back here? Come on back out, little guy. You sit right here. What are the blinds on the turbo tournaments? I don't know. Do you believe it's possible to succeed at poker while having a 9 to 5? Absolutely. Depends on how much money you put into it ahead of time, right? If you study a ton ahead of time, then putting in spare time playing poker is not so hard. One of the people who helps me with my business, he works for me 9 to 5, yet he crushes 5-10 no limit cash games, right? So it's all a matter of, do you have the skills and are you putting in significant time getting better at the game? Also, ideally you get a 9 to 5 job that gives you plenty of time to actually study poker, right? That's always very beneficial. I had a job at an airport where I was fueling up airplanes, and I purposely worked the graveyard shift, and I did that so that I could play, I could study poker and eventually play poker at nighttime. Am I staying at Palms for this upcoming trip? No, I'm staying at Planet Hollywood. They gave me a very good rate, and we'll be doing that. Can you be my t-shirt and swag salesman? I don't really have swag. You know what, Kevin? If you present me a really easy way to sell merchandise and I don't have to deal with it, I am happy to consider it. What's the longest break I ever took from poker? Well, this last 6 months I've played almost no poker. We took third place in a tournament I played the other day. But besides that, I played no poker for 6 months. My last poker trip, we had a World Poker Tour final table. We took, what place did I take? 7th or 8th out of like 1,000 people, so that was good. And then I played one tournament and I took third. So we've been on a decent run, but it's only 2 tournaments that I have success in over the last 6 months, but that's because I've only played about 10 tournaments over the last 6 months. So it's always great to get back into the swing of things. Kevin says, Planet Holly just remolded most of their hotel rooms. I hope they did not remold it. I know it used to be moldy when it was Aladdin a long time ago. It's not even that long ago. Whenever I first started playing poker, it was still Aladdin. But then 9/11 happened and their business took a hit, so they decided to rebrand. Just got your patches in the mail. Great. Will it negatively impact your table image? I don't know. For the most part, people who wear swag typically are slightly more recreational players in general. They're serious recreational players. And I think it's fine to be viewed as a serious recreational player. if people think you're terrible, though, it probably does not help you to have them thinking that you are bettering yourself. That said, you may run into other poker coaching members, and you can form a community, and you represent a company that you enjoy. So, it's up to you. Do whatever you want. Oh, they remodeled it, not remolded it. I see. Well, I come to Encore in Massachusetts. Maybe one day. Certainly if they have a good poker tournament. Planet Hollywood is horrible, regular poker room for regular live games. Well, I don't plan on playing poker at Planet Hollywood. I plan on getting up and walking to Aria right across the street to play poker. Sunglasses or no. I essentially never wear sunglasses anymore. I used to. But I've come to the realization that they are very, very bad for the game because they make the game much more serious. And you want to keep the game as casual as you possibly can. Cash versus sit and goes versus tournaments, which one should you focus on? How do you choose when you love all three? Well, if you love all three, play the one that you have the highest win rate in. That said, you want to ask where you are in your poker career. If you already have a huge bankroll, then tournaments are probably the way to go because you can play very high stakes and you're fine with variance because you have a big bankroll. If you have no money, then cash games or sit and goes are definitely best. Ben says, you won your tournament last night. Good job. You're 19 and started being able to take what are you saying? You need to play on terms because you don't think you can rely on cash forever? I mean, no, you can certainly rely on cash games. You can crush cash games if you play 5-10 no limit. You can make $100 an hour or at least $50 an hour. I know a few people who are making between $50 and $100 an hour today in Las Vegas playing 5-10 no limit with almost no swings. So 50 to 100 an hour is a nice 15 to 30K a month if you grind hard. It's a pretty good win rate. Do you think the practice of not chopping is done by the pros? And if so, is it worth alerting recreational players that you are one? I mean, no. You come to the casino to gamble. If anything, you just look like someone who's happy to gamble. A lot of people go to the casino to not gamble. They just want to hang out. But other people, recreational players included, go to the casino to gamble, and you gamble by playing hands. I never really understood the idea of chopping pots or chopping tournaments or whatever, because, like, don't you want to be gambling? Kevin, do not make any shirts before showing them to us, because I do not want you to spend your time or money unnecessarily, but if you have very clear designs that you think make logical sense, let me know. As for dry fit or cotton, I don't really care. I just want it to be a good, solid shirt. How do you find housing without work in Las Vegas? I don't know what that means, kid. Staying at Cosmopolitan, that's very nice. They have no poker room, that's correct. What's the easiest option from that location? Aria. Aria's right next door. And Bellagio's right on the other side, so it's a pretty solid location. Yeah, people already won my contest for the Big 50. That is already over. Kevin, send us an email. We're not going to discuss t-shirts here today. But send us an email with any ideas you have, and I'm happy to consider them. What's the best time and way to approach me to say hi? Just walk up and say hi. On a poker break is usually ideal. You live 5 minutes from the casino. The field is so weak, but because you play 20 hands an hour, of 1 to an hour, isn't 800 hands an hour at 10 no limit better? I mean, it's certainly better to get experience, but I don't know. Figure out your win rate, right? Also, you probably play more than 20 hands per hour at 1-2. You probably play more like 30. Just want to sidelight into the 1100. Great job. Any book suggestions? Mastering Small Stakes No Limit Hold'em. It's hard for you to transition from online to live. Any tips? Understand you are playing a different game, and people's ranges are very, very different. So learn how to play poker well. If you know how to play poker well and know how to adjust to whatever your opponents do, you'll be perfectly fine. What's the softest poker room in Vegas? Probably the places where there aren't a whole lot of pros. So the rooms where there's like 5 or 10 tables, like MGM or Bally's, right? These are places where the games are usually incredibly soft because it's only recreational players. They don't have high stakes, but it's fine. Any tips to focus? Look up Elliot Rowe and the mindset work he does. We just had a big promotion for Primed Mind. If you go to pokercoaching.com/primedmind, you can see that. You also get lots and lots of additional free content for signing up, so check it out. Do you miss living with Tom Dwan? I never lived with Tom Dwan. Let's see. Next, we're giving away 1% of my World Series of Poker action. I'm probably playing about $70,000 worth of World Series of Poker events, and someone's going to win that. So the way you get into that drawing is to go to pokercoaching.com/WSOP. We're giving away 1% of my action completely for free, and you might as well win it. Let's see. Is mastering small stakes no limit hold'em enough in my opinion? Yes, it is, but also you need to continue studying. The idea of I'm going to read one book and be great, it's not how life works. You have to study a lot. It is almost a prerequisite for pokercoaching.com, though. It'll help you go through the homework challenges much, much easier than if you don't go through it first. You've been crushing micro stakes online. Do you recommend you taking a couple shots at World Series events? Probably not. It's probably well out of your bankroll. That said, if you don't really care about bankroll management, then sure. Is global poker worth playing on? What does worth playing on mean? You have to figure out what worth means. It's not worth it for me, because I don't want to play small and medium stakes games on sites that may or may not cash you out the last time, right? What do you think about Daniel Negreanu selling action with no markup? I'm going to be trying to collect mine today at 3 p.m. If Teddy KGB bet big on ace through 5, would I fold a big hand? And I had top 2. No, I'm not folding top 2 pair. Never fold top 2 pair. Any books or recommendations for the mental game of poker? I mean, check out Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. I have 3 chapters there by the 3 mindset experts in poker. Jared Tendler, Elliot Rowe, and Trisha Cardner. So check out that. There's 3 solid chapters, 3 slightly different views on it. And I think that's a very, very beneficial way to get access to different people's work. And then you can, from there, look into what else you want to do pertaining to those people. What site do I recommend playing on? Party Poker and Poker Stars. Yeah, Matt Damon made a big fold. Matt Damon plays better than me. I've played poker with Matt Damon one time in New York City. So that's fun. I don't think he made any big folds. We didn't play any hands together. Let's see. Oh, also, last night I had a webinar where I reviewed 5 fun educational hands where I went through very, very high stakes final tables and discussed things that I learned or things that you can learn from the best players in the world. That webinar is going to be available on YouTube later today, probably at about noon, so in 3 hours. You can go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/YouTube. It'll be the most recent video. So check that out. Also, we produced a gigantic final table bundle. So if you go to pokercoaching.com/final table, you can see what we have there. Essentially, I coached David Einhorn for the $1 million buy-in tournament last year, and we went through lots and lots of hand histories of the best players in the world, trying to figure out how you can beat those players or what you can do to make sure they don't crush you. And I also went through a bunch of other stuff. We went through heads-up final tables. We went through online heads-up or online finals tables featuring players who played the $1 million tournament, the best players in the world, etc., etc. So anyway, check that out. Pokercoaching.com/final table. If you play poker tournaments, you better know how to play the final table, because if you don't, you're just not going to win very often. Also, you have to understand that most people rely on their experience at poker, and you may have 10 or 15 final tables in your career or in your life or in your 3-year sample, whatever, depending on how much you play. And if you only have 15 samples where someone else has studied thousands of final tables and they understand how to play them well, you are going to get demolished. So let me take all of my final table knowledge and put it into your brain. And we can do that at pokercoaching.com/final table. Pro says, that was a great webinar. Good. You wanted to mix tournaments and cash. If you do not have a big bankroll already, I would highly suggest you just pick one game and stick to it. And if you have a small bankroll, cash games are probably the way to go, because you can play them as much as you want in your spare time. Living in the States, you cannot play on Poker Stars and Party Poker. You can if you go out of the country and you set up a residency. But no, I don't play online poker when I'm at home. I'm busy. How can an amateur get staked? Best advice: get good results. If you have very good results, you'll have no problem getting backing. If you have no results, you should not expect to get backing. Best suggestion for late stages in a tournament: win all of your hands. Have we tried Ignition or Bovada? I think that's the same site. Yes, I've tried almost all the sites for research purposes. How do I feel about Zoom poker? It's a great way to get really, really good at the game and not win a whole lot of money. Would you ever wear a chipmunk costume at the main event for attention? Not for attention. If I lost a bet or something, I would. But I have no desire to have unnecessary attention, especially if it's for doing something asinine. You have to understand, what do you want to be known for? I want to have attention because I help people better their lives and help people better their poker games, right? That is what I want attention for, or for winning a poker tournament or whatever. But I don't really want attention for being someone who does ridiculous stuff for no purpose, right? What does that say about someone who does that? What is the purpose of that, right? I think doing things to get attention that are not beneficial to anyone essentially is you begging for attention. And why do I need to? I'm not trying to beg for attention because I can get it a good, holistic way, right? I mean, you see people in the poker space trying to cause fights and berate people and tear people down, and they're doing this because they can't actually get attention any other way, and that's their best shot to actually interact and try to seem like an equal of someone else. And when people do use those tactics, understand they're losers. And it's okay, right? There are always going to be losers who have to beg for attention. But we're not there yet. I see Johnny Vibes bet with Sean D. No, I don't care about that kind of stuff. If PokerStars offered you Dale Negreanu's job, would I take it? I don't really have a problem with PokerStars. I mean, they did the one thing very, very bad in the past where they took away the rakeback money, essentially, from a lot of the top pros. The future rakeback money. And that was definitely a mistake. But I don't really have a problem with a gambling site upping the rake. I don't have a gambling site making the games more gambly. And you understand, you don't have to play there, right? So many people think that they're entitled to have a poker site that lets them have a potential to win a ton of money. But you're not entitled to anything. And understand that is important. So if the games are no good, stop playing. For example, I don't play turbo tournaments on PokerStars anymore. And I probably never will again. Why? Because the rake is... It exists, which means that turbo tournaments are already relatively difficult to beat. Also, the structures are not good, so your edge is very, very tiny, so it's not worth playing, right? If it's not worth playing, don't play. So many people think that they have to have the opportunity to play, and that's ridiculous. Let's see. Your game's improved a lot since you bought my World Series prep. Great! That's what we're going for. What's this picture? This is a picture of me and James. It's just a nice picture. We went to Rockefeller Center. We went to the top of that building. It's a very tall building. And we got a nice picture. He's a good boy. Let's see. The costume humiliation prop bets were big 10 years ago. Doesn't seem like they are now. Yeah, that's because people don't do stupid stuff for no reason. What's the purpose, right? Much better prop bets are prop bets that make you get in shape. For example, if you lose a bet, you must do 1,500 push-ups within 3 days or something like that. That's a good prop bet because then you lose, it kind of sucks. You don't want to do 1,500 push-ups, but then you'll be much, much stronger. If I'm missing anyone's questions, sorry about that. The links I'm telling you to go to are not working. Well, they should be. Let's see. I said pokercoaching.com. Maybe the site's down. Pokercoaching.com/WSOP. Let's see. That one works. Perhaps you don't know how to spell poker coaching. Poker, POKERCOACHING. No space. There are no spaces in URLs. Pokercoaching.com/final table. Pokercoaching.com/WSOP. Who's my favorite X-Man? I don't really know. I don't know all the X-Men. So I don't feel qualified to answer this question. I really like that scene at the beginning of X-Men 2 with Nightcrawler. Is that his name? But I don't really like the Nightcrawler character. So I like that scene of that movie. I never really read comic books as a kid for some reason. I was at comic book stores a lot to play Magic the Gathering, but I didn't really read many comic books. Am I a life coach as well? No. But I'm happy to help people with life issues if they have them. I don't actually know what being a life coach means. I don't think there are actually any qualifications. I've definitely talked to people about their life problems, so I guess in theory, maybe I am. What's the biggest difference between win rate in Zoom and non-Zoom tables? Well, no one wins at the high stakes Zoom tables, or they win very little. Whereas in tables of a comparable game, people can win like 8 big blinds per 100. How do you beat regs with it's a high variance game? Just play more tight aggressive. Please explain your thoughts on flipping in a tournament at any stage. Well, you never know you're flipping, right? That's the problem. So, I mean, you have to ask, how much equity do you have? We play any online bracelet events? I don't know. I tried playing them one year, a few years ago, and the geolocation thing was a disaster. I deposited my money, and they wouldn't even let me play on the site, and it was just a huge pain. So I haven't even tried playing them since then because, again, like, what's the purpose? To distract myself from an actual big tournament, a big live tournament? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? But, I mean, I guess if I have an off day, I'll try to figure out how to do it. Am I a Star Wars fan? Yes, I love Star Wars. I played a Star Wars card game a long time ago, and I ended up knowing a ton about Star Wars. The original movies, not the new ones. How do you feel about people advertising 5-hour-long courses? I have no problem with this. Guys like me spend more than 5 hours on pre-flop. I mean, look, I have no problem with people selling whatever course they want to sell, especially if they have good credentials. I know Dan Legrand and Phil Ivey have a thing on Masterclass, and that Masterclass is a program that basically, I don't know exactly what they do. My oversimplification is they pay people to make 5-hour-long primers where they basically talk about their topic, right? And, sure, what's the problem with that? Also, it's not all that expensive. I think it's like $200. So if you want to hear Negroni or Phil Ivey talk about poker for 5 hours, it's probably well worth it, right? I definitely don't think it's going to be like thorough, in-depth training to make you the best player in the world or anything like that, but I'm sure it's very useful. Actually, I've considered signing up. Now they have Ivy, I might sign up and download it and watch it on the plane on the way to Vegas. Let's see. Did I research the closer yet? If it's a $1,500 buy-in tournament, I may play it. Look, you have to understand, Tyler, I don't really have to plan my schedule all that much. I more so figure out, all right, I'm out of the tournament today. What's tomorrow, right? I'm not thinking, I have to make sure I play the closer tournament. I mean, sure, there are some things I make sure I plan around, like the bigger tournaments. So there are various 5K and 10K and 15K tournaments this summer that I will be playing. And everything else kind of fits in between the cracks. What are my thoughts on rat holing? That's where you buy in for 20 big blinds and quit. I have no problem with this. I mean, you're allowed to leave whenever you like in most games, right? There are some games. One time I played in Europe where if you were up, you could not quit for 3 hours, I think. Which seemed like pretty brutal rule to me. But yeah, once you got up above your starting stack, that's when people would start this little timer in front of them. And once it got to 3 hours, they would all leave. It's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I like Game of Thrones, but I am only at the beginning of the final season. Amy and I tried to binge it to get caught up by the finale of the show, but we were off by 10 episodes. Bad beat, huh? Do I divide positions early, middle, or late? No, be specific. If you want to raise 10-8 suited middle position, but under the gun raises, under the gun +1 calls, can you still call or raise? Yeah, you can still call if you want. Let's see. Masterclass is good for beginners. Well, there you go. Like I said, I kind of get the vibe that they're more like, they're just like guides for basic information. And you're going to find that anytime you go to a presentation for like an hour that's kind of designed to target a large group of people, very rarely are you going to get the really valuable information, right? I mean, I put out, 1,000 hours of footage, and you actually do get into very, very deep topics. But whenever you are presenting to an unknown audience, or an audience that is almost certainly recreational, it's just going to be the very basics, or, relative basics. It's going to be enlightening if you don't know anything about it. Like, I'm sure if I watched the cooking masterclass or any other masterclass, I'm sure I would learn something because I don't know anything about these other topics, right? But if you already play poker and you're here, you probably already are going to be in fine shape. That said, I'd like to hear Phil Ivey talk for 5 hours. Even if he tells me, raise pre-flop with good hands. 99% says master classes are horrible. Well, that's unfortunate. It's like a TED Talk on poker. Yeah, it's like a TED Talk on poker. That's exactly right. Most TED Talks, especially ones geared to very, very broad audiences are not that in depth, but things like TED Talks, they actually do make them somewhat specific sometimes, which is neat. Good luck at the World Series. Good luck to the World Series to you too. I will certainly be there. Tim Ferriss influenced your life. Any other books or individuals that I enjoy? I like this guy, Pat Flynn, although I haven't listened to a ton of his podcasts recently. They definitely helped me set up my online business. It's called the Smart Passive Income Podcast, but not passive income. I work all the time. So I liked his podcast a lot. That's why I set up the site jonathanlittlepoker.com. It's why we made pokercoaching.com. Really, it's just a matter of figuring out ways to help people. Like, what would I want in my life 5 or 10 years ago? And that's what I tried to make for all of you. And hopefully you enjoy it. Who else? I like Gary Vaynerchuk's content. It's a good way to get in gear and get the work done. I like Stoicism in general. I think that's all very beneficial. There's a book called The Daily Stoic. Where is it? It's right there. Called The Daily Stoic. I read that almost daily. So anyway, check all that out. What's the best way to attack the Big 50 structure? Just show up and play well. So many people care about structure. The structure is essentially irrelevant, everyone. All that the structure determines is your potential win rate, right? And like why once you understand that, you're just playing the stack size, right? If you show up and you have 20 blinds, you're playing 20 big blind poker. If you show up and you have 50 big blinds, you're playing 50 big blind poker. If you're playing 100 big blinds, you have 100 big blind poker. It's not like you should be playing these games incredibly differently as long as you understand how to play each stack size. Let's see. Where is a cheap place to stay in Vegas? What does cheap mean? Let's see. Why did Negreanu leave Stars? I don't know. Seems like they're getting rid of a lot of people, though. I mean, I think they've gotten rid of almost everyone who, at least in my mind, is probably highly paid. The vast majority of them, at least. And I think now, if you are not an athlete or, well, mainly athletes. They're attracting athletes and people like that. It's probably a good marketing decision. I mean, why do they need poker players, right? They've already have all the poker players playing there. If you have all the poker players playing there, then you're not trying to get any more poker players. You're trying to get very recreational people, and you do that by getting athletes and sponsoring UFC and stuff like that. That's how you get in front of people who don't play poker. Am I finally going to win the main event? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Any thoughts on shootout tournaments? It's a winner-take-all tournament, right? Shootouts are neat because for the first few tables, it really is just purely winner-take-all. I actually made the final table of the 1500 shootout last year. Was it last year? Maybe it was the year before. I don't remember. It all blends together. I had aces and I lost to kings at the final table, so that was fun. Actually, it was a 10-handed table, then a 10-handed table, then like 18 people returned or something like that. And then it was like regular payout structure for the final 18, so that one was not winner-take-all. But it's important to understand the structure. So yeah. PokerStars is only interested in profit. Well, they are a company, right? Companies are required to try to make profit for their shareholders. Do I listen to How I Built This? I did not listen to How I Built This. What do I think of Blake Eastman? He's always been nice to me. Got a great deal on Airbnb. That's how I got my long stint at Palms Place. It's usually a pretty good place to stay. Can you recommend or put together a class for today's games like 1-2 or 2-5? Well, fun enough, Paul. Be patient, because in June we have the Cash Game Masterclass coming out. It is about 7 hours long. We're going to have a bunch of quizzes associated with it. We may figure out ways to build it directly into poker coaching. We're going to figure it out. We don't exactly know how we're going to release it yet, but Cash Game Masterclass is coming because you all requested it. What do I think about people covering their faces? They probably shouldn't. Aren't satellites the same as tournaments? No. Satellites force you to play bigger tournaments, but also satellites have a weird payout structure, which means that the most you can win in a satellite is the price of the main event, right? In a regular tournament, you can win 100 big blind, or 100 buy-ins, or 1,000 buy-ins in some of them. In a satellite, you're capped at like 10 buy-ins, which is why you have a very low return on investment. And it's well known that in the online high-stakes satellites, almost no one's winning. And if they are winning, it's a very, very tiny amount because the game is relatively easy. So in easy games, you have low edges. And if you have low edges, you either have to put in a ton of volume, or you have to realize that you're not playing a game that you can make a whole lot of money at. Also, satellites force you to play bigger, which is a big problem because you're essentially parlaying, right? When you're parlaying, well, sometimes you have to you have to run very, very hot. If you're normally 1 in 8 to cash a satellite, 1 in 8 to cash a tournament means you're going to get money back 1 in 64 times you play. So if you play every single day, you'll get 5 tournament cashes in the year. Think about that, right? You're going to play one day a tournament every day, and you're only going to have 5 cashes on average. Is that what you really want to sign up for? Seems bad to me. A lot of pros are signing up to Party Poker. Party Poker's taking an interesting approach to signing up pros. It seems like they're hiring a lot of, not the most well-known players. They are hiring a lot of streamers who have marginal viewership. Not bad, but marginal, which is interesting to me, right? I mean, I'm kind of making the assumption they are locking up these players very cheaply. I don't know what their deal is. Maybe they get some rake back. Maybe they're paying them $1,000 a month or something. Maybe they're paying them nothing and they're just getting promotion for being a Party Poker pro. I don't know what the deal is. But it's interesting. It's interesting for sure. I mean, I think it's probably smart. If you are going to attack the poker community, just quote-unquote buy or patch up all of the decent medium stakes players who are not bad humans, right? Just patch up good, fun, nice people, and then you just have all the good, fun, nice people representing you. How many orbits do we need to play before we start labeling people? Less than 1, probably 0 hands. You can sit down and make an assumption ASAP about your opponents based on many, many, many things. Kevin says, if you own a business, shouldn't you be interested in the profit? You absolutely should. Do I know anyone who's satellited in from WorldSeriesOfPoker.com? I do not, as far as I know. Ben says, poker coaching needs more cash game content. It's coming. Do not be patient, okay? It's coming in June. We have a promotion schedule. We're doing the Final Table bundle right now. You can check that out at pokercoaching.com/final table. After that, I think the cash game masterclass is next. So look for that. The change for marketing strategy in poker sites from a decade ago to now is sad. They used to care about catering to serious winners. Now they try to get wrecks. I don't think that's sad. It's just a good business practice if you think about it, right? Recreational players deposit and lose money. Good players take money away. So if you could attract all recreational players, there would be essentially no winners. Or if there were winners, they would be small winners, which means they're just raking a lot, right? You have to understand, when you put money into an online casino, they view that as a purchase. You are buying chips from them, and you are going to lose them. On average. Of course, you get 20 cents back on the dollar, or whatever it is they end up paying out. But it's not a lot. And poker sites have realized, all right, we don't actually need to make it to where we have lots and lots of winners here. We can just rake everybody to death, which is kind of the route that PokerStars has chosen, right? If you look at a lot of the formats they've introduced, they have games where the edges are incredibly tiny and the rake is real. And again, if you don't like the structure of the game, you don't have to play. Party Poker's doing kind of the opposite. They're doing what PokerStars did 5 or 10 years ago, where they have very good VIP programs, and they are catering to the high-stakes pros. And I mean, certainly that's better for me. I don't know if it's a better decision long-term, but it's definitely a way to get people on your site and playing. I mean, would you play on one site where they pay you $200,000 a year to play, or play on another site where they give you $10,000 a year to play, right? Figure it out. Of course, if you can't win on the site where they pay you $200K, then maybe you're not happy with that. Are cash games more profitable than tournaments during World Series? Probably the opposite. Do we call 5-bet shoves with ace king for 100 big blinds? If you're playing well, you do. If your opponents are playing well, you do. Is Mike Sexton the CEO of Party Poker? No, he's the chairman. It's a very different title. Do we think 6 max turboed? Is there enough edge to play? Probably not. Which poker room do you recommend you play cash game at during the tournaments? Whichever one you want to play at. You have to figure out what stakes you're playing. Do you mind waiting in lines, etc., etc., etc. Did I send out poker coaching patches yet? Yes. Evan Jarvis is a good addition. I know. Thanks. Mornruth. Whenever you're dividing the positions, big blind, small blind, button, cutoff, hijack, low jack, under the gun +3, under the gun +2, under the gun +1, under the gun. That's it. 10 positions. That's all you need. That's some weak coffee I'm drinking. Yes, you have to get off of coffee the week before the main event. Or the week before you go to play a big poker series. That way the coffee regains its potency. I discussed my thoughts on high hands, quads, pulse. I don't even know what you're referring to here. Oh, I guess you mean like jackpot type things. They're obviously very bad for the game in terms of the rake they take, because you have to understand, whenever there are jackpots at most casinos, they take a 10% administration fee or more, which means if the jackpot's $100K, they take $10,000 of it and pocket it. Figure that one out, right? So no, it's an additional form of rake. Some people do play more loosely to try to collect the jackpot, which is clearly ridiculous, but if you see people playing garbage, great. They're just playing wider ranges for no real reason. How do you know if a player has a 3-bet bluff in their range, and instead of just 3-betting more linearly? Depends on their strategy, right? Also the frequency. But you never know. And also, if your opponent's good, they're going to be more polarized. If they're bad, they're going to be more linear for the most part. Let's see. You reached 18 buy-ins in just one session. So you started with $500. Basically, you're saying, is there a chance that you go broke? Yeah, I mean, there is a chance you go broke. There's a chance you don't go broke. It depends on how you are playing and whatnot. Do you dislike live mega satellites? Yes. It's because there's just not much of an edge to be had in those games. And also, they take a long time. You would much prefer to play single table satellites where they go relatively quickly. You can have a decent hourly rate. And most of those players are not very good at winner-take-all structures. What are my thoughts on Charlie Carroll? He's a nice guy. I have no problem with him, and maybe we'll find ways to work together in the future. Let's see. Just had a good winning session. Good. How do people receive compensation for wearing patches at final tables? I mean, in the past, well, just recently, at a few World Poker Tour final tables, I paid a few people money to wear the patch. It wasn't a lot, but it was some. I mean, it's enough to get them to wear a patch, right? In the past, they would give you really, really sweet deals. Like, I think I got paid like $20,000 one time to wear a patch at a final table. Now the numbers are 1/10 of that, which means it's a buyer's market, and I'm happy to buy. Who are the most talented female poker players? I don't know. I'm not a very good gauge of talent. I'm a good gauge of skill level. Kristen Bricknell is a very, very good player. I think she's always been very, very tough to play against, and she's probably the player I've played the most with because we both play high-stakes tournaments, right? So you really only have experience with the players you play against, and I played a pretty good amount with her, and she's always impressed me. You want to talk more about cash in the tournament? I mean, look, what is there to say, right? 21. Find a game you can beat and then play it. Both games are soft during the World Series of Poker, so play in the soft games. It doesn't really matter. There's more variance in cash games, or more variance in tournaments, so if you like variance, play high variance games. If you don't like variance, play tournaments, right? Is there one thing I could change about the poker landscape? What would it be? I don't know, man. Make rake illegal? Let's see. Will we be doing morning streaming? No, not in Vegas. So you will probably not see me for the next 10 days. But we will see. Five-handed at a final table, you're in the money. You have your last in chips with 7 big blinds. All right. Chip leader on Heroes Right raises 2.5. You look down at 5s. You jam for 7. Yeah, probably. It's a pretty rough spot. You want an online tournament. Good job for a 5K package. Nice. Are there any adjustments we should make? Or any advice I would give to someone who is playing a tournament without a ton of final table experience? Go to pokercoaching.com/final table and watch all of that. We have tons and tons and tons of content there. Did I see Lex's Royal Flush beat quads? No. They've ever had a wild beat like that. I mean, look, I don't really care about bad beats or good runs. This is a good example of things that I just do not care about at all because it doesn't matter, right? Winning and losing hands is completely irrelevant in the long run. I do remember a long time ago I was playing 30-60 limit hold'em, and I was like barely properly bankrolled. And I had I flopped quad kings, and we capped it pre-flop, capped it on the flop, turn was an ace. Capped it on the turn, river was an ace. We put in like 4 bets. I'm like, oh, I actually lose here. So then I just called, and he had the pocket aces. That was before bad beat jackpots existed. Let's see. When should you leave? Oh wait, when do I leave? I leave to go play in Vegas on Sunday to go play a $10,000 tournament at Aria. He feels if the 2-5 games have been on a decline in Vegas. Yeah, all cash games are going to decline over time because games get tougher. That's what happens. What limit do you play, and have you experienced this? All games have gotten tougher. I used to play 10-20 every day, and it was super soft, and now you go to 10-20, and sometimes it's tough. When does the piece of your action... Oh, when does the competition end for the piece of my action? Pokercoaching.com/WSOP is the giveaway. I'm sure there's a countdown timer there. Just go and look at it. But I believe it's the 26th, because I think it's the 26th, but I don't know for sure. What kind of tip do you give after winning a tournament? They take the tip out of the prize pool already, Skydive. Most casinos will take 3% out of the prize pool already, clearly designated as a tip. Anytime they take a mandatory tip, you should feel no inclination to tip anything additional. I personally tip about another 0.5%, but not a lot, because there's a mandatory tip. If you go to a restaurant and they take out 20% for tip, do you want to tip more? Some people do, some people don't. If you have $300 to play, should you invest all of it on a single site? Probably. In which tournaments should you play so you can build a big bankroll? You should be playing $1 or $2 buy-in tournaments. And take your time. There is no rush. How do you control your tilt better? Check out Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. Go to hold'embook.com. You can get it there. There's also a few webinars by Jared Tendler, Elliot Rowe, and Trisha Gardner that I hosted with them that will help you get your tilt under control. We actually did a tilt workshop with Jared Tendler. So you can find that at hold'embook.com. How do you mentally overcome extended run bad? Just don't care about it, right? If you're properly bankrolled and you're playing great and you're studying a ton, what's the problem? What is your tip percentage when... Oh, people care about this tip percentage thing, huh? Is ace 9 on the button good enough to raise versus limpers? Depends on the limper strategy, right? Are they loose limpers, or are they tight limpers, or are they... Like, what are they limping with, right? Are they limping with all sorts of garbage? Are they limping with marginal stuff? Depends. Is there a problem with collusion in poker today? Most sites are very, very good about stopping collusion. I don't think it's much of a problem. And the thing is in No Limit Hold'em, you really can't collude that much anyway, because what are you going to do, right? Some people think, oh, you can raise and re-raise them out of the pot. Yeah, but you're risking a lot of money. When they have the nuts, you just lose all your money. So that's not a good strategy. Card removal effect is not such a big deal. Games where there are more cards, that's where you can get colluded. Like I know on most of the sites, there's the Omaha 8 or better games, Limit Omaha 8 or better, high stakes games, full ring were heavily colluded. Because if I know 4 other guys' cards, I just know like 20 cards out of the deck, or 16 cards out of the deck that are gone, and that is very, very rough. What's the sit and go? 10 people play, and then they leave. You sit, and then the tournament starts. It goes. How many years to go from 0 to a professional poker player? Depends on what you call a professional poker player, right? How do you eat healthy at the Rio? All-American Days. All-American Days is great. They'll deliver the food right to your table. It's good, healthy stuff. Also, take your own food. When calculating fold equity for an all-in pot with 11 big blinds, why are we subtracting 11 from what would be the pot if the limper calls? So in that scenario, what you're essentially saying, 0.4 is your equity when you get called times the total pot. That is your equity, right? That's how much you're going to win in the pot. But you have to subtract the amount you're putting in the pot. So if you're putting in 11, but you're getting back 5, it means you're losing 6 big blinds in that scenario. Can I scooter better than my son? I can. I learned how to jump on the scooter the other day. It's not particularly hard. I'm probably going to end up breaking my ankle. Let's see. What's the best way to stay off tilt? Don't let your emotions creep into poker because your emotions have no place here. Do you play looser when the blinds climb faster? Not really. Just play well. The strategy that works well against fish is to raise to 6 big blinds, betting a third pot. I mean, raising and then continuation betting is a strong strategy. You struggle with focusing on one format. Sounds like you're impatient. What format do you recommend for someone starting out and learning to try before going into other formats? I would definitely suggest cash game or sit and goes initially because the variance is way lower in those games than it is in tournaments. And also you can play very tiny stakes games where you just don't have to risk much money at all. Whereas like tournaments, you have to play $1 buy-in games, right? I guess to be fair, the thing with tournaments is you can play dollar buy-in games with like 1,000 people, but then there's infinite variance. And you don't really want that. Well, I'd be upset if you introduce yourself. No, everyone is more than welcome to come up, say hi. I'll be in Vegas, part of the summer, so say hello. Is the World Series streaming online? I do not know. How do you avoid boredom losing? Realize your emotions, like being bored, are irrelevant. People, they think that like these are excuses or reasons they're supposed to lose. If you get bored, why do you have to play worse, right? Just keep playing good poker. If you're bored at poker, go do something else with your life. Am I selling action for the World Series? I sold action to a few people for very high stakes events. But that's all long gone. Tell everyone how amazing Party Poker was pre-2006. It was very amazing. You could play 16 $200 buy-in sit and goes or higher all the time, and you can make 10% return on investment. You do the math. So $200 game, you make $20 a game, and you can play 20 in an hour. So $400 an hour, almost no variance. I mean, I say almost no variance. You're going to have 100 buy-in down swings, but it's not a big deal if you're winning 400 an hour, right? So anyway, those were the good old days. Any advice for someone getting back into poker? Go get your free trial at pokercoaching.com and go through all of the past homework challenges, starting with the oldest and working your way forward. Have I played live at the bike? Multiple times. Have I played with Garrett? I've played with Garrett multiple times. One time I was playing like red or black flips with Garrett at the final table. One of our friends made the final table at the bike. And I lost every flip, so that was fun. But no, I played with Garrett a few times. He's always a very difficult player to play against. The answer is call a lot. Let's see. Well, I'll be mostly at Aria. I'll be at Aria and at the Rio. How frequently are you in the money? About 15%, maybe 17%, something like that. You're going to find the best players often don't have a gigantic cash rate because cashing doesn't actually matter. What matters is how often are you winning. Are we ever opening small pairs? Sure. If the table's weak and soft, then raise because you're not going to get re-raised. Do you like people coming up to talk to me while I'm at the poker table or on the break? I mean, break's always better. Unless I'm running to the bathroom. If I'm running to the bathroom, then sorry. Poker players' bladders have been trained to go every 2 hours, and mine's no different. You played 2-3. It seems like the lucky hand wins most pots. Yeah, but also the best hand wins all of the other pots where someone doesn't get lucky. You mentioned something about pre-flop charts a couple videos ago. Is it out yet? Yes, it is out. Go to pokercoaching.com. It's under the tool section. Also, well, there you go. Jay Carter posted it. Thank you, Jay Carter. No, that may not be it. Let me see. I don't think that's it. No, this is not it. This is not it. Maybe it's pokercoaching. Let's see if it's pokercoaching.com/charts. It is. Pokercoaching.com/charts is the URL. You can go there, get the pre-flop charts completely for free. Who's the best professional poker player? I don't know. I don't know all of them. And again, when people ask the question of who is best, what does that presume? Does that presume I know literally every poker player in the world and can give a good assessment? Who's the best in my opinion? I mean, what does best mean, right? I mean, best means has the most money, right? So who has won the most money from poker? I don't know. So many people love to talk about things they are completely clueless about, and I try to not be one of those. I'm sure there are some things I say that I am clueless about, but for the most part, I definitely think that you need to know what you're talking about if you're talking from a place of experience and trying to be wise and helpful to others. So many people out there, they just want to run their mouths to feel special and to feel as if they have attention. And I don't know who the best player in the world is. Simple enough. And what does the best professional player mean? I mean, probably the best professional player is playing like super soft, high stakes, private games. Probably running the game as well. And so they're collecting rake, and they also are crushing the game, and they're probably having a great life doing it. I'm sure there's someone out there. I don't know who it is. How do you enjoy coaching compared to playing? Coaching's a lot more fun and a lot more rewarding because you help people. I'm a big fan of helping people. You can go to pokercoaching.com/final table. Here, I'll type it in here. To just see, like a few tweets people sent me where someone said they helped my work helped them win their first World Series bracelet, and just a few months ago, one of my students won 1.3 million online. Like these are life-changing amounts of money for people, and I am very, very happy to help people. Your most comfortable stakes for cash games? 25.50 is what I typically like to play. What makes Garrett difficult to play against? He puts you in bad spots. Anyone who's aggressive, anyone who uses large bet sizings. These people are always difficult to play against, and that's what good players try to do. What are my thoughts on unregulated, unlicensed poker apps where you have to deposit money through a random person? Seems like there's a lot of points of failure available. What's a good bankroll? If for any bankroll questions, read jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. How can you start playing poker professionally? Treat poker professionally. Start playing. Would you play heads up against a bot for a challenge? I don't really care about challenges. I don't need to stroke my ego, and I also don't need to prove to everyone that bots are better at humans at heads up no limit hold'em. That's already definitively proven. Oliver wrote an essay. I'm not going to read the essay. We're going to play in a 25K fantasy poker draft. No. I presume those players know other players' return on investments much better than I do. Does teaching help you analyze your own game? It demands that you analyze your own game, and I am very, very confident that I'm a much better player today than I was before I started helping people, because when you help other people, you inevitably have to make sure you thoroughly understand what you're discussing. And it became clear, I did not know why I was doing a lot of what I was doing. A lot of what I was doing was the right plays, but I didn't know why they were the right plays, right? And learning that, you'll find all the spots where you're not making the right play, and then you can adjust it. How many World Series bracelets do I have? 0. I think I've had 2/3 and 2/5, so almost. I think last year I took a 9th when I had the aces lose to the kings. I've actually had aces lose twice at final tables. One time I was 3-handed in a limit hold'em shootout of all things, and I was against 2 roommates. Me and 2 roommates in limit hold'em. I'm like, oh no. You know how this is about to go. But I just got aces on back-to-back hands. I lost both of them to both players, so it was fine. Whenever you lose in spots where you just get unlucky, it's like, whatever. You're happy to lose in those spots. How do you recognize good table selection? We discussed that in the Cash Game Masterclass coming out soon, so be patient. If you were to recommend one of my books over the rest, which would I recommend? Mastering Small Stakes No Limit Hold'em for the vast majority of people. Do I like The Pretenders? I don't know what The Pretenders are. You thought I was drinking wine at first, or is that wine and a tea bag? No, this is not Chardonnay in the morning. This is some sort of tea that helps your throat not hurt from talking. I've been talking a lot the last few days. Let's see. How do I warm up? I mean, I don't do a whole lot of warm up. I try to relax. I try to get all of my actual work off my plate. Believe it or not, I have plenty of work. And doing that clears my mind, because then I can purely focus on poker. I try to go to the gym. I try to meditate if I have time. I probably should make that more of a mandatory thing. You have to understand, some things in your life are mandatory and some are not. And I have yet to figure out a way to make meditation a mandatory thing. Turns out a lot of people who have the same mental issues that I do, like extreme ADD, they have very difficult times with this as well. So maybe it's just not for you, right? Everything is not for you. And so I like going to the gym, and I like getting all of the nonsense done. I have so much nonsense to deal with every day. I say so much. It takes like an hour or two. So I make sure I take care of all that. And then I can focus on what matters. Let's see. What's the best way to get into poker? Play small stakes games. The Pretenders are a band. Okay. I don't really listen to a whole lot of music. I listen to classical music. This morning we were listening to the best of Bach on organ. I'm sure all of you know the famous Bach works on organ. So that's what we were listening to this morning with Mr. James. Then we listened to some Bach playing piano. Well, Bach's not actually playing. Somebody else is playing. Turns out I like Bach's music for some reason. Thoughts on staking? It's a solid business if you know what you're doing. When am I going to be on Survivor? Whenever they ask me. My friend Boston Rob is apparently going back. How brutal. And a poker player, another one of my friends, is going to be on Survivor. They didn't ask me. I applied. They didn't ask me. They asked my other friend. Don't know if I'm allowed to say who it is or not. But go figure. Maybe one day they'll take me. Is my World Series schedule set? It's set enough. Do I mind if my son plays poker? No, sure. I think my son's going to play all sorts of games. Not just poker. You have to understand there are lots of games, and I think you don't necessarily want to play games to make money. You want to play games to learn how to think about the world. If you understand how the world works, you can pretty much beat anything. And if you can beat anything, then you're just good to go. All right, well, I have to go. I have a coaching session starting in 5 minutes. One of my students made day 2 of a major tournament and wanted to have a call. So we're going to do that. Again, if you have not already, enter the giveaway to get 1% of my World Series of Poker action. I'm just giving it away completely for free at pokercoaching.com/final table. Also, pokercoaching.com/WSOP for the raffle. And then also, if you ever plan on making a final table, or if you just want to study more poker from me, go to pokercoaching.com/final table, where I review lots and lots of final tables and featuring the best players in the world. We also go through some heads-up matches. We go through small stakes live tournaments at Stone's Gambling Hall. We also review a live at the bike final table. So there's lots and lots of content, no matter what level you play. I just teach you how to play the final table better, because that really is where all the money is won or lost. And I want to make sure you're not lost there, because if you're lost there, you're going to get crushed. Also, we're probably not going to be doing a little coffee while I'm in Vegas. I'm going to be in Vegas until the 6th of June. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, I think. So there'll be 5 little coffees missing. There's a chance we'll do something from Vegas. Follow me on Instagram, at jcardshark. I post Instagram live stories. I definitely will have live stories going on then. And I'll make a video blog too, probably. If I feel like it, if I remember. It's always tough, because I'll get somewhere and I'll be like, oh no, I should be making a video blog now. And then I just don't do it. But that's okay. All right, have fun. Good job, good luck. Enjoy yourselves. Be nice to someone and have a fantastic weekend.